You're listening to the Faith Matters Podcast with Steve McKinley.
Hello, this is the Faith Matters Podcast. We talk about matters of faith here because, well, we believe that faith matters. And we have a big topic to discuss here this week. This month, we have a big film project going on that I think you're going to be excited about. As you know, I'm the pastor of the Navin Baptist Fellowship, and I and the people of the Navin Baptist Fellowship are partnering with filmmaker Shane Ferris of Ferris Films on a movie about the early life of St. Patrick. And so I have Shane with me on today to discuss that. Welcome to the podcast, Shane.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here in Ireland.
And before we get into really the movie and the really exciting part, your background is kind of interesting. And why don't you just talk about how you came to the Lord and how you got into filmmaking, and just let us know who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Shane Ferris. I grew up to the age of 8 in Pennsylvania, around farmlands. We always had fun outside, and I was homeschooled. When we moved to New Jersey, me and my 6 siblings, we moved to South Jersey, where we started to go to public school. I got into sports, but I didn't really know what it meant to live for God, to walk with God, and I wasn't saved. I wasn't born again. And it wasn't until I got into a bunch of trouble, I went down the wrong path, hung out with people who played sports, and that just led me down the wrong path, drinking all the time, drugs, and fighting, a lot of violence. And eventually, when I was 22 years old, I moved to North Dakota, and that's where the Lord really got my attention. And He saved my soul. He gave me hope. He gave me a new future. Before that, there was no hope. There was nothing to look forward to. It was just darkness. It was darkness, and that was it. And I thought I was going to live a short life, but the Lord had different plans for me, and I believe a lot of people were praying for me. A lot of Christians were faithfully praying that I'd be saved. I know my brother and a few of his friends were praying for me. And so eventually I got saved, and it wasn't long after that, a few months later, that the Lord showed me He wanted me to be a missionary. So I went to school for missions. During my schooling, I put down the camera, I put down watching movies or any interest in filmmaking, and I just thought it was all for evil. But after reconsidering, I started to invest. I bought my first editing computer and bought my first professional camera, and went to Africa and spent all of my free time editing and filmmaking, and that's where I started to really learn how to do all that. And it wasn't shortly after that that I began Ferris Films, and that's where I would just do a lot of different projects. I would do promotional videos. I did promotional videos for businesses, did promotional videos for churches, and I did wedding videography, and it was just all videos. I started to actually get into photography as well, and now I'm a full-time photographer and videographer, and I just, every single day, just grinding and grinding. No social life, no fun, just nonstop working. Anybody who spends any time around me, I don't think they really enjoy all the work, but I just want to make the most of my time. And so I have just been getting into filmmaking since then, and have just been challenging myself to newer and bigger projects. And this would be the biggest undertaking of my career. I did make a documentary. It took me 2 years, and I got a lot of experience from that documentary film. You could see that on Vimeo. We'll put the link below. And you can also see my testimony. It's on my YouTube channel. And so I just started to get into videography, and it's basically been my life. Other than the ministry and serving the Lord through my local church, I've just been putting all my extra time into videos and investing a lot into it. So that's kind of how I got to the point now where I have a lot of cameras, and I have the Lord has just blessed me with a lot of experiences and a lot of skills, and the Lord has really just blessed me with everything that I need, and has always provided for my needs. And yeah, so that's kind of my background and who I am.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think you can see that Shane is invested in this life of faith, and of course I'm in full-time Christian ministry. I'm a pastor, and I teach and preach from the Bible every week, and talk to people about the Lord. And so this wasn't, a filmmaker looking for a good story to make and sell. This was more a few people that were inspired by the story of Patrick. And it really is such an inspirational story, and it's a huge part of Irish history. And I think it's something that's going to resonate with the people of Ireland. All the people that I've talked to just get their eyes light up. You can see it, and everybody has a vision of what Patrick looked like and what he was like. And a lot of it, I think, is a little bit off the mark. And what we're going to try to do with this movie is make it as true to history as possible. And I'll let Shane talk about that a little bit more. But before we do, Shane, how do we come up with this crazy idea to make a movie about the life of Patrick?
So Steve over here, I actually haven't met him before I came here. But, it's really nice as Christians, as Bible believers, when you have the same values, you have the same doctrines, how the Lord, you're brothers in Christ, and you can really serve the Lord together. It's not about credit. It's not about, I only want to help my family out. I only want to help my close friends out. This is about us just really wanting to serve the Lord and just following his leading. And so somebody connected me with him, another missionary. And I've done some stuff like that before where I've connected with missionaries and helped them out, although I've had no other connections. Like in Egypt, I actually filmed a whole conference for Edgar Figali and filmed a bunch for him and other missionaries and pastors there. And so connecting with Steve, we started to talk. We started to come up with ideas. Obviously, this has been a burden for me to come to Ireland, to use a video as a tool for outreach in this country. Before, I've done that with many other projects in different countries where I've made a video and I've been able to use it. For instance, the project in Czech Republic that we made, I can use that now whenever I go to Czech Republic or speak to anybody from that country or even anybody from Europe because it connects to them. And also Colorado, I've made a project out of there, and you can use these different tools, these videos, as a tool to connect to people, with people on a different level when it comes to outreach. And so Ireland has been something that I've had a burden for. My whole country, my whole family comes from this country. This is where we're from. We're all Irish. I know I have black hair, but the rest of my family, they look a little more Irish than me. And my mom's side is all redheaded, and my dad's side is all these Irish people. So,
Shane, there are a lot of people with black hair here in Ireland. Actually,
Yeah.
I was surprised by that too. I think all Americans think that they're going to come over here and everybody's redheaded. And,
yeah, they do think that. I think.
no, there's a good mix of people groups that make up the people of Ireland, and there are a lot of people with black hair and I think brown eyes.
Yeah, so
You fit in.
So I'm glad I fit in, but it's actually nice to be darker hair because I think the Lord might have me somewhere and maybe in the Middle East in the future. So it's good to kind of be able to fit in both. I do have a little bit of red hair in my beard. I know you might not be able to see it, but it's there.
Yeah,
so
so do I. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm Scots Irish on my dad's side, so
Oh, very nice.
the McKinley family.
Yeah, Irish and Scottish. That's the way it is. So after speaking to him, we started to talk about a project that we can do together. And obviously I wanted to help out in that way. And we were just thinking maybe a week. I would just come over and do a video. And then we quickly talked about let's do something on Patrick. And it turned from one idea to another, and it just evolved pretty quickly. By the third phone call, we said, let's just make a big production. And that's when I decided to come for a whole month to be able to film this. And so it started from there. That was about 5-6 months ago, where I started to write the story of St. Patrick. And it's just been a long, hard journey, but very worth it and very fulfilling. Even putting together the screenwriting and the story here. I don't have experience writing an entire movie before. This is my first one, but I do write for videos, and I do write scripts, and I do write schedules for filming projects a lot and all the time. Actually, that's part of my job, is to write filming projects and to write scripts and stuff like that. So this is not far from what I already have been doing on all of my time. So that's kind of how we got to this point.
Just a lot more of what you typically do.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
in one package.
Yeah.
So this is actually a pretty ambitious project for all of us. And I don't know if we realized quite how big it was until we really got into it, but it really is a big project. And with that, let's just say we need your help. And I'd love to say that we are independently wealthy people that can just fund the whole movie, but the reality is that we can't. And we need a lot of people to come together. You know, if everybody gives just a little bit, €1, €5, we could meet our budget. And we're not looking to make a profit, but we do want to pay off the expenses that we have and be able to bring this to as large of an audience as possible. And you know what? To bring it to a large audience takes money. And if you want to put a film into theaters, for example, if you want to get it onto Netflix and things like that, it costs money. And so if you have a heart to give toward this project, you would be helping to get the message of the life of Patrick out to a broader audience. And we can't do it without your help. And so we do have a website. It's patrickfilm.net. And there's a giving portal there where you can go on and give toward the project. And every euro that you give will help. It will go directly toward the project. We have big costs for costumes, for sets and locations, and travel and things like that. And so please consider giving any amount, €1, €100, whatever you feel that God would maybe lay on your heart to give toward this project. It would be much appreciated, and we need you.
Yeah, we definitely need you and really appreciate it. And let me just say that I believe that you will be very well pleased with your investment. We've put a lot of hard work into this. A lot of people have, and for little to nothing. And actually, we've paid to do this. Just for instance, taking off a month of not getting any payment of anything, and actually paying any of the money that I have for this to happen with all of this expensive equipment and all these things that I have that the Lord has provided for me. I'm going all in, and we're not asking that you go all in. We're just asking that you just give a little.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We are all in. And with that, you might have an interest in meeting Shane personally. Well, we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. Shane is going to be at the Navin Baptist Fellowship Sunday, July 3rd. In fact, Shane's going to be there every week up until then, but on July 3rd, Shane is going to be our special speaker for the day. And Shane, I think you're going to talk a bit about the life of Patrick and probably the deeper meaning and message of Patrick's life that we're trying to get out through the movie. So if that interests you, and if you would like to meet Shane and come and pick his brain a little bit and ask questions, you're more than welcome. Come to the Navin Baptist Fellowship, and you can look us up on Facebook, Navin Baptist. And we also have a website, navinbaptist.ie. But all of this will be linked below the video here. And we're excited about this and hope that you are as well. We're going to be on next week and talk a bit more about Patrick and about, I think, the way he saw himself as a missionary in the mold of the Apostle Paul. And so stay tuned for that conversation. But otherwise, leave your comments below this video. We'll do our best to answer everyone.
Yeah, because we know that you probably have a lot of questions. Just doing this podcast has probably led to a lot more questions about the film, about the production, how this is all coming about me and about Patrick. And we would love to answer all those questions. We're hoping to be able to do that. And I think you'll be pleased with all the answers you're going to get, because the deeper you go into this, his story and even the project here in Ireland, it's exciting. And you can be excited about it, even though you're not necessarily directly a part of it. We've already had sleepless days. I've had nights where I've gotten only 2 hours of sleep just to make sure this happens and everything's in order. Just playing a lot of roles, and the Lord has really just provided for me. I've seen God answer prayer after prayer during this. Just yesterday, I was looking for something that we needed last second. We were going to film within an hour, and the Lord provided for it. That has happened over and over.
Important prop that we needed.
Yeah, important prop. And the Lord has just been answering prayers. There was one day I got no sleep for 2 days, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to crash and I'm not going to be able to stay awake. And I asked God for strength, and he saw me through that. So I was excited about seeing the Lord working through this.
Okay, and I think you're going to see that we're real and we're genuine people that are invested in this project, and we're transparent. So ask us anything, and we'll try to fill you in. So, all right, we'll see you next week.
And go with me, Lord, thou my great Father, and I thy true Son.